And a good Sunday morning for you. It's baseball for breakfast here on Cards Hub 365, presented by Gray Bar here on Sports Hub STL. I'm Joe Roderick, joined alongside by Hunter Mulholland as the Cardinals get ready to go for the 3-game sweep against the Minnesota Twins later on this afternoon down at Busch Stadium. And Hunter, the Cardinals so far through 2 games have kind of put it all together. They've looked like a very well coached, a very well, the approaches they have, the game plan they have has looked really good so far. And we see if they can put it all together once again with Andre Pallante on the mound this afternoon.
Yeah, the Cardinals have looked fantastic the first 2 days of the season. I had my skepticisms about Lars Nootbaar as the leadoff man. He's proved me wrong, and I'm completely content with owning up to my faults there. I thought Mason Wynn was going to be the guy, but Nootbaar has been fantastic in that number 1 spot.
Absolutely. He is so far, come up with clutch hits. He's taken really good at bats in the early games this year. And Mason Wynn struggles at the plate. It's one of the few concerns I think that we have at the moment, 2 games into this. But that was a concern we kind of had all through spring training. And after seeing what he did last year in a full season with the Cardinals, you expect that switch to flip at some point. And right now, through what are we at? 6 weeks of baseball, 6 weeks of at bats for Mason Wynn. It just hasn't yet. So hopefully that's something that, I don't know, maybe you get into April, maybe you get into warmer months and he figures it out. But right now, everybody else is kind of picking up the slack.
Yeah, Mason Wynn has not had the spring or the start to the season that he just wanted. But to contrast with that is Wilson Contreras had a fantastic spring, and he hasn't quite found it in the regular season yet. So baseball is very much a game of chance and a game of luck as much of a game of skill. Mason Wynn and Wilson Contreras are going to turn it on for the Cardinals as the season rolls along.
With Andre Pallante on the mound today, we see a guy who, God, when I looked at it and when I went through the roster, you look at the spring training performances. I wanted Michael McGreevy on this roster. I wanted him in this starting rotation to start the year. And the question when you brought that up was, okay, who do you take out? And my answer to that was Andre Pallante. That was based on spring performances. That was mine. I'm not dumb. I know contractually you're not going to take Miles Mikolas out of there. That's a June, July conversation. That's not a March conversation with Miles Mikolas. But with Andre Pallante, that was the one that seemed like it would make the most sense to take him out. But last year, Andre Pallante went out there and he performed every single time you gave him the ball, especially the second half of the year. And he kept you from probably being an under 500 team with some of his late season outings that he had. So you're giving him the opportunity to be in there, to be in the lineup and to be in the rotation. But I think these early ones, especially leading into this whole 6-man rotation talk, these early outings for Andre Pallante, he's going to have a huge spotlight on him.
Yeah, this is going to be a big key to fortify why the Cardinals made the decision to send McGreevy to Memphis with Palante. If Palante comes out today and he goes 6 strong, 1-2 earned run baseball game, I think that you can say, okay, Palante earned it from last year. The spring was kind of this struggle scenario where we saw similarly to with Palante was Gray with his velo concerns. Gray comes out on opening day, does his thing. So the possibility for Palante to come out today and just go back to what he was doing last year, go deep into ball games and help the Cardinals win, which is what he did for the back half of last season with a lot of those games that St. Louis probably could have lost during that stretch. Palante's going to have to make sure that these first 3, 4, 5 starts are really, really key on keeping him around in the rotation for the remainder of the season versus maybe moving him to the bullpen and calling up Michael McGreevy.
A 1:15 start time down at Busch Stadium today. Cardinals and Twins as the Cardinals go for the sweep, and we have a little bit of a change in the lineup in today's game. Those lineups are out for the early game. The Cardinals lineup looks like this: Lars Nootbaar leading off again, getting the start in right field. Wilson Contreras batting second, DHing today. Brendan Donovan left. Nolan Arenado at third. Alec Burleson at first base. Nolan Gorman at second. Pedro Pages behind the plate. Victor Scott II is in center field, and Mason Wynn is at short. For the Twins, Matt Wallner in right, Carlos Correa at short, Byron Buxton in center, Trevor Larnach DHing, Ryan Jeffers behind the plate, Ty France at first, Willie Castro at second, Jose Miranda at third, and Harrison Bader back in left field for the Twins. Cardinal lineup, we knew that a lineup like this was going to be coming. There's no huge surprise in this. You're 3 games into the season. You have essentially a 10-man rotation, I think, of guys who are going to get a majority of the starts, of guys that, if healthy, are going to get around 400, 450 at-bats, Nolan Gorman being that 10th guy that we haven't seen so far this year. So no surprise at all as to him being in there. I think the big question was, when you give Nolan Gorman that start, who sits? And after 2 games, I don't think performance was based on it, but Jordan Walker sits today. He got hit yesterday. You kind of wonder if that's more of a, okay, you know what, you just take the day off type thing, or you wonder what all went into the decision to go with Nolan Gorman over Jordan Walker today.
Yeah, was this a planned sitting for Walker, or was this something because he got hit in the hand yesterday? It's a big key to keep him healthy. It's a long season. You don't want to rush him back out there and have something if something's still not feeling right in his hand. I'm excited to see Nolan Gorman. I want to see what his ABs look like this season. Brant Brown has put in a lot of emphasis with Walker and Gorman over the offseason. So I'm very interested to see what steps Gorman is going to take in his opportunities this year, and how is he going to earn himself more opportunities. And at the same point, at that time, who sits? Is it going to be between Burleson, Walker, and Gorman? Is Donovan, if he struggles for a week, is he going to be the guy with the short end of the stick? What is everybody's runway, and how are you going to make this work on a weekly basis of, we need to get this guy at least 2 starts a week?
And looking ahead, I just pulled up the starters for the series against the Angels. They are you're seeing on Monday nights, the Cardinals are going to be up there facing. Just had it up here. It is left-hander Tyler Anderson, and then again on Wednesday, you're facing lefty Yuki Kazushi. So that's 2 lefties that you have. When you look at the plethora of left-handed bats the Cardinals have in the lineup, I would imagine, probably, I'm gonna guess we see it next Wednesday. I'm gonna guess we see for the first time next Wednesday, we're going to see the lineup of Pedro Pages catching, Ivan Herrera DHing, with Wilson Contreras at first base. So you're gonna have that's when you're gonna load it up with righties. But that's why I think a game like today, maybe that's where you give Walker that day off, and because knowing that, okay, it's got, you know, he's going to be in the lineup against the lefty on Monday night. That's the guy you give it off to. So then tomorrow, that's where you're facing, you know, you're looking at the numbers of who faces Tyler Anderson the best, who's hitting lefties, or who hit lefties the best last year in spring training. That's when the questions start to come, because this lineup is not built to face left-handed pitching.
No, and that's an issue that you run into with having so many left-handed bats. Especially when you go and you look at the bench depth. Your only true option on a daily basis on the bench is Luke and Baker, because you can't just go out there and say, Pedro, we need you to take an AB, because then you run into the issue. What happens to Herrera? What happens if something happens to Herrera? You got the best
emergency catcher in baseball right now. That is one of those things. I have not worried about that at all when going through these scenarios, and it's one that's been talked about a lot, because I think the Cardinals do want to get Ivan Herrera a lot of at bats this year. But when you look at the way it's built, I don't think they're worried about running into that. It's not Brendan Donovan that's the emergency catcher.
No, it's a guy
It's
that needs
Wilson
tape.
Contreras. I mean, you have a really I think Wilson's going to be able to put on the gear for 10, 20 innings this year if needed at some point. I think they would like to not have to worry about that because that means there's no emergency to be had. But I think Wilson's still bringing the gear to the ballpark.
Yeah, he definitely is. Catchers are a breed of their own, and they when they move from that position, you saw it with Mauer. Like they still wish they were back there. So for Contreras to still have his gear does not surprise me by any means. What did surprise me was yesterday when he just decided that he wanted to eat his batting tape.
I looked all night last night waiting for a quote out of him. I'm hoping that somebody, because I think the locker room doesn't open for another 20 minutes. So I'm hoping that somebody asks him about it this morning. Maybe he wasn't available last night, but I'm really hoping that somebody will ask him what was going on in that situation yesterday, because we need answers.
I need to know. I was watching on the TV broadcast, and Chip and Brad on FanDuel seemed completely awestruck at what they were watching when Contreras just ripped off this bat tape and just stuck it into his mouth.
Yeah, it was a sight to be seen. It's made its rounds all over social media over the last 20 hours or so right now. So, hey, quick look at the my home run predictions for today. We after yesterday, I'll throw up the standings first. After 3 days, none of my guys went yard yesterday. That's the first over we went for on the season. So that one hurt. Today, though, here's what we're looking at for who we want to go yard. Wilmer Flores, I think, is going to be the surprise on here. If you look at the list of names, he already has gone yard twice this season for the Giants. Only had 4 home runs all of last year, has already halfway to that total early on. So we're going to play the hot hand with him. I wanted to go Bobby Witt Jr. on opening day. I didn't. I went Josh Bell instead. Neither one of them homered. There was no I wasn't that upset about it when it was all said and done. I'm going with Bobby Witt Jr. today. He is yet to go yard. And then I had to pick a Yankee. After what we saw yesterday. 9 home runs against the Milwaukee Brewers yesterday. 9 home runs, 3 home runs on the first 3 pitches of the game. I think people have gone back. I think they have said that's never, ever happened in Major League history. And before I know that this is Cards Hub 365, but in the final few minutes that we have here, Hunter, I know that you saw the story yesterday about the bats that the Yankees are using. I haven't gone deep enough to look yet if this is something that they weren't using in spring training, if they just busted them out at the start of the year, because you look at this bat next to a regular bat and the aerodynamics of it, the way that it's shaped, it's a Major League Baseball is going to have to do some sort of investigation into these bats to make sure that the Yankees aren't getting an advantage and to make sure that it's within the rules.
So what I've seen is it is within the rules. Now, could Major League Baseball come out and be like, well, no, you can't do that? They could. But from what I've seen is that the barrel, I believe the number is 2.61 inches in diameter. It's not allowed to be larger than at its thickest point. So just by moving the barrel down towards the label, it seems to be legal, but it's very weird. I think I saw Cody Bellinger swinging it in spring, but I haven't seen much else. I only saw it like a couple times on social media from Bellinger, but that's about it. Looks like we lost Joe. So the Cardinals, where did he go? Okay. Well, so back to the Cardinals. The Cardinals definitely are looking to move into the future. And I see from Mike M over here, Baker might get a start soon, especially with those left-handed pitchers coming up in the few weeks, in the next couple days. Definitely a possibility, especially if they want to get Herrera and Pajes off their feet. But it's definitely one of those that his role was to be the guy on the bench.
Apologies there. My it went out. I was my internet here went out.
Oh, okay.
And I had to quickly reboot for that. So I did. I don't know where I didn't hear where you were. I didn't hear the end of your thought on the Yankees bats with the way that they're built. I know you were talking about the diameter of it at the moment.
Yes. So I also bounced back to the Cardinals for a little bit because I finished up what I was saying. But the bat is about I think it's 2.61, and in its thickest point is where the legality is for it. And I don't think that there is any rule that says you can't move it. It just has to be tapered. But I wonder if the taper after the barrel there at the label where it's thick, if that is going to be the point of emphasis for Major League Baseball to say, no, you can't do that because it's not one flowing extension to its thickest point.
Yeah, and there's a look at the two bats on the one. Yeah, the one above you see that's the bat the Yankees are using, and then below an example of a bat from the Athletics. Whoever I don't know what player they got that one from, but you see the difference in the way those two are built. It was a top storyline yesterday, and it will be when you hit 9 home runs in a game. So we will see if anything is done from that, or what is brought up by the league when I guess today, tomorrow, whenever it is finally addressed. Cardinals and Twins, Hunter. It's a 1:15 start time. Cardinals look to go for the sweep in the game today. Ryan Helsley should be fresh out of the bullpen too, so not throwing yesterday. So the Cardinals should have a very good back end of the bullpen to back up Andre Pallante in his first start of the season. That being said, we will head out for today. A post-game show coming your way around 4 o'clock or so with Ethan Hannaford and Randy Carricker. So that'll be coming your way moments after the final out of the game. Until then, he is Hunter Mulholland. I'm Joe Roderick. We'll talk to you next time right here on Cards Hub 365, presented by Gray Bar here on Sports Hub STL.